All right, we're recording and we're set up. So this is the Git and GitHub lesson. Let me drop it in your channel real quick so you have what we're working off of. Cool. I made some changes to this lesson just like that I want to point out. First and foremost, so y'all have like done a ton of this in Mod 0, so we're not gonna like go through what most of this lesson like asks you to do because it's almost verbatim what you had to do in Mod 0, but I leave the lesson plan here because it's a great place to reference some of these commands if you ever kind of like forget about what to do. But where we will start is over in this branching section. So it's about halfway down the lesson plan because this is what is new for y'all, and this is what you haven't gone through yet. So the one thing that I think I want to show y'all first and foremost, though, I can't remember where I put this, but let's see. Oh, I never pushed it. That's right. Let me do something real quick. Okay, cool. I gotta do something. All right, so this is what I'm doing basically is updating the website so that it has what I did earlier. What did I do? Update lesson. Okay, good. All right, so this is what I want you all to do just to make sure that you get the most up-to-date lesson. So if you're on the page, I want you to do a, you can do this two ways. So if you do a Command-Shift-I, that will open up, that will not do what I expected there. Please work. Nope. Okay, so my shortcuts are a little different. Haven't done that in a while, but if you do a control and click here and then do an inspect, so control click is like your right click on Mac, and I do an inspect, and now I do another control and click here in this reload. This only comes up when I have the developer tools open, all right? So I wanna do an empty cache and a hard reload, and this is what you can do on a website if there's been like recent changes, that'll bring in the newest changes, all right? So that's what I'm gonna do here, and that'll bring up this like most recent version of this website. It basically clears any cache that you might have and says like, go to the server and get us the most recent version of the code. Cool. Cool. Yeah. So the one thing that I did want to talk about is this. So as I said, like we're trying to be as an institution really conscious and intentional about being anti-racist. And maybe you haven't even thought about this, but when the default branch in Git is created, it is named master, and we can rename this to main by running a command here that I've put in this lesson. And so I'll kind of show you a different, or I'll show you how to do this. But yeah, the default branch is master. That's pretty racist if you ask me, and maybe you are privileged enough to not have to think about that, but it's probably, if you are a person of color, it can bring up some some feelings that probably if you are a white person you don't have. So we are going to change the branch name to main, and I can do that right after running git init. And I'll show you, there's this command right here, so I'll just copy it in from the lesson. Let me go to my other, I already have it here, so I'll just delete my Git repository for this one, and then I'll do a git init. So you can see master is the branch that it defaults to, but if I copy and paste this in, my command here from the lesson, this will rename it to main if you are initializing a new repository. All right, so this is like the command when you first initialize a repository, how you can change that default branch to be main, okay? However, if the repository already exists, then we have to do something different. It's a different set of commands, and it's a few more steps, because we have to change the local branch, we have to change the remote branch, and there's a few more steps involved. All right, so I'll go through that in a little bit, but this is kind of like the easiest way to change it right in the beginning. Cool. Yeah, so before we jump into branching, I kind of want to open it up and just be like, what questions do you have about Git right now? What is coming up about GitHub right now? Is there anything that happened for you that you want to share and talk about? Is there anything that we can, share screen and look at that you want to, go into? Yeah, Philip, you got your hand up first.
Yeah, I had this problem yesterday, and I think a couple other people did too. When I went to push the repository to GitHub, it wasn't like working. And so Mike actually told me to use like a force command, and that works. What was going on there? Why did that happen?
Yeah, so that was for the independent challenge, and what had happened is I believe what had happened is it's a number of things. Like, I changed what the master branch looked like, or it was the main branch, what the main branch looked like right after I dropped the challenge to y'all. So after you had forked, and so that did a number of things. It like changed. Now when you're trying to make that pull request and push up, you had a merge conflict, and once you had a merge conflict, then it's hard to update um, your current remote branch without making changes that fix that merge conflict. All right,
Okay,
so
so you
that
had
was like a
changed. Sorry, I'm sorry.
that's all right. That was like a very specific situation that like I doubt will happen again. But it's also possible that the that's all I'm gonna say. That's a specific situation that probably won't happen again, but it's basically like we'd have to like look exactly at the error, and there's probably a better explanation on the internet, but I can't remember exactly what the error is, and I know a few of y'all had it. But something to keep in mind is, if you ever want an explanation that's like very thorough, someone's probably like wrote a blog post on it, copy and paste that exact error message into your browser and click enter, and then there will be a number. There's probably a Stack Overflow, there's probably a blog post, there's probably like a number of things, because especially with version control stuff, like what happens is you generally run into a situation, it's new, you're not that familiar with it, and a lot of times what happens is we get past it, but we don't actually like take the time to think about like, hey, this is what I actually had to do there. And that basically what it was saying, in the scenario that you were in, it was like, hey, like you're about to like wipe out some stuff on the remote. Are you sure you want to do this? We're not sure you should do this. And that's when you use the -- force to push it up and make those changes, and like make sure like, okay, like, yep, local is going to look like remote. Yep. Cool. I think Danny was next.
Yeah, so this might not be the best way to do this, but so working on the project, I had put a file in an inadvertent directory. So then when I drug it, so I just had to, git delete and just get rid of it, but it was still showing up in GitHub. And so Saren helped me yesterday, because I was like, why is it still showing up there? So I still had to git add and git commit. And then once I pushed it, it deleted it from GitHub because it was matching my my local. So you
Yep.
might run into those types of things too.
Totally. And that's like a situation where, yeah, you deleted the file locally, but you need to commit that change locally, then push up to your remote before your remote knows about it. And that's like a great example of like what we're going to dive into part of this lesson. It's like your local is different from your remote, and push and pull are the only ways that we actually like are updating either our local or our remote. All right, so that's like something to keep in mind. What you do locally is not necessarily going to show up remotely unless you tell it to, right? Remotely has a copy of a branch, locally has a copy of a branch, and we can't just expect those things to automatically update. We have to manually tell them to update. Cool. Yeah, Angela.
Yeah, so this question actually, Nell posted it in the chat, and I don't think we had a full answer for it. The War Peace Project rubric says that like if you have like one of the expectations or something is to have like 3 pull requests. Why would we want to even make more than 1? Like I don't understand that.
Totally. Yeah, so I'm so glad you brought this up because this is like something that I generally will like hammer home with my groups in project evals, but I don't usually get a chance to say it to the whole class. So pull requests are not just a tool for merging code, and they're not just something that like you have to do. They are a tool for documenting code, and they're a tool for you, for future you, and for any future developers that might take a look at this project to have a reference point of, hey, this is what happened, this is why it happened, and this is really just a reference of here's what changed in the code, here's why, and here are maybe even some inline comments about what happened. All right, and so the idea with pull requests, it's not just like one pull request. I know that it doesn't make that much sense like solo as far as like why we would do this, but you can think of it as like, hey, every time I have a piece of functionality that is complete that I want to pull into my main branch, now I can make a pull request for it, and on that pull request I can give myself a helpful description. Hey, I implemented the turn class and it's functioning properly. I had to go about this mutually assured destruction method in this way so that it'll work. I think this is the best way, but I might refactor it later. So now you've kind of like given yourself a love letter of reminders, of context, of everything that just happened to your future self, who specifically at Turing, but also on the job, probably isn't going to remember what they did a month ago, right? You're probably not going to be too familiar with what code you wrote in this project a month from now. But what you can do is leave yourself helpful comments, document what you did, why you did it. So now when you have to go, inevitably code changes in the future. So now when you or a teammate has to go back and look at this code, they have something here that they can reference and that they can say, oh, okay, that's why they did this. That's why they were thinking this way. Now I need to change it to be some other way, but I have more context and I'm less worried about breaking something that I just didn't know existed if I have some sort of documentation of why the code changed and when the code changed.
Can I show an example, Tim?
Yeah, sure. Certainly.
What I get from that is that like pull requests are kind of like more grown-up commit messages almost. Like maybe commit messages are for yourself and then pull requests, descriptions are for your team.
I would say that the commit messages are for both. They're both for yourself and for the team. And the pull requests are generally for a slightly more like, I don't want to say complex, but robust piece of functionality that you definitely want to get into the main branch, which is always should be considered the working branch. Like I only merge stuff into my main branch when I know that it works, right? Like I know this works. That's why I'm merging it now. I've got another iteration to do, but I'm going to get iteration 2 in right now because I know it works. And then I can, if someone wants to reference my code at some point, if an instructor says, hey, like, I'd love to see what you did for iteration 2, here's my pull request. It's in the main branch. You can check it out. I'm working on iteration 3 now, but I have this piece completed and it's ready to go. Check it out.
So does the code merge when I push or when I pull?
So the code doesn't merge until you click that green button on GitHub, merge pull request. All right, so it's not merging at the push or the pull. The push or the pull is updating either your master, or I'm sorry, the push is updating your remote branch with your local changes, and the pull is updating your local branch with the remote changes.
Right. I guess I get pull locally versus pull request.
Yeah,
here.
totally. And you can think of the pull request as similar to a git pull, right? The difference is that you're pulling changes from one branch into another, whereas git pull is pulling your remote branch into your local. All right, so that's why it's called a pull request. It can be a little counterintuitive at first.
So is it called a pull request because you're like requesting the, I guess, owner of the branch if you can pull it?
Let's hold that one real quick, Brett. I want to let Danny go into what she's gonna do, and then I'll come back to you. All right?
Can you see this?
Yep.
My wall piece. Okay. So basically, like if you come to your main screen and you'll get pull requests, you click on the pull request, which is gonna make more sense later, guys. But then you click on what that pull request is, and then you'll go to files changes. And so this is what he was referencing when you go to your files changes. It shows you what was and what has changed. So everything in red was what was, and everything in green is what has changed. So that's what you can do to yourself as well.
Yep.
You can like leave little comments.
Yeah. So why don't you show that, Danny? Why don't you go ahead and just click in there somewhere? Cool. So yeah, so she clicked in and now she's able to leave a comment which has markdown formatting right here in the code on the line that it's referencing. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying documenting. Like this is inline documentation for future you and for your teammates.
Cool. I just wanted to, sometimes for me at least, to visually see something, it helps me click.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, totally, Angela. Great question. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, let's go back to Brett, actually.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, is it called pull request because you're essentially requesting from the branch main if you can pull their code to
Kind
your
of. Yeah,
okay.
close. Generally, like main is the branch we're pulling into. So you're requesting to main that you can pull in changes from some other branch. So you're saying this is a request from me, this other branch, to pull my changes into the main branch.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, Travis, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I might have just answered my own question. I was trying to do this on my own over here on GitHub just now. And yesterday when we were doing the challenge, not the War and Peace one, War or Peace one, but the other one, I tried to do a pull request to make a pull request, and I couldn't. I was told to merge it on my own to just go ahead and merge it, but I couldn't because it was with the Turing example. And then I clarified that, and then I was told to merge it with my own, and I couldn't merge it with my own because it was the same branch.
Okay, so you had a separate branch that you were trying to merge into your own main branch. Like, did you make a branch or no?
I don't think so. I cloned it down, did my thing, and then went on GitHub to do a pull request. And GitHub kept telling me I can't do a pull request on my own branch because they're both the same.
Yeah, so that is a specific situation also where when you're trying to make the pull request, let me just show you real quick. I think I can do this pretty quickly. Yeah. So I'm going to make a branch here on, or am I sharing? I don't even know.
No, you'll have to share again.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so I'm sharing here. This is like the backend site. I'm going to make a new branch with this command git checkout -b, and I'm going to say demo PR is what I'm going to name this. Cool. Let me go make some changes here. I'll put it here, some changes. I will add those changes, or let's just do a git status. Cool, I modified this file. Let's add it, commit it, change. It's a bad commit message, don't do this. Cool, and now let's push it up. I haven't, so at this point, I'm gonna try and push it up, but my remote branch does not exist yet. Demo PR was just created right here locally. Git checkout -b demo PR. My remote repository has no idea about this branch. It doesn't exist. All right, so I'm gonna try and git push this up, and it's going to tell me fatal, current branch has no upstream branch. To push the current branch and set the remote as upstream, use this command. This is what I do. This is like part of my workflow. When I create a new branch, I need to push it up. I know that this is gonna, when I do git push, it's just gonna give me this command because it's like, Git's smart enough to know like, hey, there's no upstream. If you wanna both set the upstream and create this remote branch all in one, here we go, let's do it. So now I just copy that right in. I set my upstream, awesome. Okay, that looks like things went through. I don't have any errors, anything fatal. So I use this tool, Hub. Don't worry about this too much, but basically it's a command line tool for GitHub. And what this does is wherever I am on the command line, this will open me up to that repository on GitHub. All right, you have to install this tool. It's called Hub. If you want to look into it, go ahead. But this is like basically the only command I really use it for. It's just to quickly pop up to whatever I just did. All right, and so now, I promise we're getting to your question, Travis. So now I've got this demo PR, has recent pushes. Okay, cool, this is looking good. Compare and pull request. All right, so when you are opening a pull request, you're gonna have these two things which are kind of like hidden in the background. You're not generally thinking about them, but it's basically saying, hey, which branch do you want to pull into? For us, our base branch is gh-pages. Compare this branch that I just made, demo-pr. What happened with you, Travis, is you were trying to make a pull request, and this one probably said main. So I'll make it gh-pages. And there's nothing to compare if you're trying to pull one branch that is exactly the same into another. So what you would have to do is you had this main, and then when you clicked on the base branch, you'd have to change it from your main to the Turing school main, which would be the difference there. And then once you are merging against the Turing school main and creating a pull request that way, then like you can actually make the pull request. But if you're just trying to do a PR against two branches that are the same, it's gonna be like, nope, sorry, like we don't know how to do that.
Yeah, well, so I did that part, and I had that, and then and I might have understood the message incorrectly, but I was told to merge my own changes to it since we were just practicing with it, and I was told that I don't have the rights to merge on my own.
That's correct. Yeah, you wouldn't have the rights to merge your pull request into our repository, like our Turing School repository, because you just don't have access to that. So you can't merge your own pull request there. Someone that has access to our repository would have to do that merge for you. Yeah, so I don't know how that communication happened, but it sounds like it was probably just a miscommunication in Slack about what to do. But yeah, I think we'll probably move
Yeah,
on.
I see it. I think somebody just said that they said, so make a pull request, but don't worry about it because that's not the point of the project. And it asked, they said you can just approve it yourself, and that's where the confusion started. I said I can't make my own, I can't merge it, blah blah blah. But yeah, that answers it. Thank you.
I think, yeah, they were probably thinking you were talking about the project maybe, and you were talking about the independent challenge, which sounds like probably what it was. Cool. All right, let's take a break. Let's take 5, come back at 43 and finish it up.
Thanks, 43.
43.
Thanks, 43.
Hey, Tim, are you still here? Nope.
All right, it's 43, so let's jump back into it. I'm gonna share, and I'm kind of gonna pick up where we were, just because it's like similar to what I'm gonna ask you all to do for a couple minutes, and yeah, let's start from here. So I created this branch. Let's just review what I did. So I checked out a new branch from my main branch, which was gh-pages, or I should say like my base branch, which was gh-pages in this scenario, right? Generally, this is going to be main, okay? So I checked out off of this branch I made some changes in Atom. I ran a git status, saw that those changes were there. I added, I committed, and then I pushed. And I couldn't push yet because I didn't have that branch name yet up remote. So I ran, hey, let's set this upstream and then push to this branch, this remote branch. Great. At that point, it worked, it ran, and it says, hey, I set up to track the remote branch demo PR from origin. Branch demo PR is set up. Cool, that's great. That's what I wanted to happen. I wanted to push my local changes up to my remote, and then I clicked on create pull request, and here I am. So I could leave a comment here. Great. And then I create a pull request. Cool. When it says this branch has no conflicts with the base, this means I can merge it in as long as I have access rights to this repository. I can go ahead and merge this. So at this point, I have a couple of options. I can look at this file's changed. Remember, this is what Danny just showed us. And this is where I can really go in and I can make a comment here like, this needs to be removed. Remember to do this. All right, and I can comment this right here, or I could start a review if I wanted to actually like review this PR. And we'll get into reviewing and stuff later on the mod. But I can add a comment here. Great, now this comment is attached to this pull request. And now I could go back to conversation. Now I have a comment right here in line on the line number that I'm referencing. This is why this is powerful. And I can hit merge pull request. Confirm the merge. Great. So now there are some things that I need to do. All right, I've updated my main branch gh-pages with the changes from demo PR. However, my local is not updated yet. My local demo PR has what I pushed up, but if I go into gh-pages and then I look at Atom, that some changes is not here yet. That is not on this branch. It's not on my default branch yet. Those changes that I just merged in up on GitHub are not local yet. I have to update my local manually if I want to see these changes. All right. Anyone have an idea of how I would update? No one that's repeating, please. Any ideas how I would update it?
I think Angela said it, or she typed it. So come off mute and say it.
You would pull?
Yeah, exactly. So look what I did here. I switched back to GitHub pages. Now that all those changes that were on GitHub, like I can see that I actually made this change in this spot, 215, and now I look in Atom, it's not there. So I haven't updated my local with my remote. My remote GitHub pages is now separate from my local GitHub pages. As Angela said, I need to pull. So when I run git pull, that pulls in anything that the remote has that my local does not have. All right. Great. Now I have the changes that I need. You can see here it is. It came in here. And now I look, indeed, my changes came in. All right. So that is how we update. That is the workflow with branching. I make a new branch, right? Let's go through it one more time. And then I'll kick y'all to do it on some breakout groups. But let's do this one more time. If I make this big. All right, all the steps I did. I was on, let's pretend this is my main branch. We call it gh-pages at Turing. So I check out my branch demo PR. This is kind of like a twofold. I create the branch with this -b and I check it out all in one command here. Git checkout -b demo PR. Cool, switch to this new branch. Then I opened up Atom and I made my changes. All right, I did my code. I made some, let's pretend I made some great tests and they all pass. Cool. Now it's time to make my pull requests, get back into main. So I ran a git status. All right, this all should feel pretty natural. Now I see that I have a modified file. I add it. I then commit it with my message, and then I push. I don't have an upstream branch yet. I don't have a remote demo PR. So I need to create it and push to it all in one, which is this nice command that Git recommended to me when I ran a git push. Cool. So I run that one. Okay, things work. Things go up to GitHub. Awesome. You don't have Hub, but let's just say like you go to the repository, look at it. Okay, cool. Now you're on the repository. I made my pull request. I made a comment on my pull request, which is good practice. And then I merged it into my main branch, pulled it down into my local. After that, well, first what I did is I checked back out to GitHub pages, which is the original branch that I branched off of. I pulled in the changes that the pull request made to my remote GitHub pages, and now I am up to date and I am ready to continue. Now at this point, it's rinse and repeat. Git checkout -b, whatever I want my branch name to be, make some changes, push them up, create the pull request, document well in that pull request, merge the pull request, pull down those, check back out locally, back to your main branch, pull those new changes in, rinse and repeat. All right, and that's what we're gonna do here. I think the best place to do this would be in your project, and you can do it similarly to the way that I did it, because you already have like some work in your project, you already have a main branch, and you only need to change like one line of code, right, to do this whole process. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you into breakout groups of two people. We're gonna do driver navigator again. What I want you to do is go through this branching workflow. In your project, create a branch, right? Make a simple change. Push up to GitHub and create that new remote branch. Pull it back in with a PR or make your PR, pull it into your main branch. Well, it was probably master still for y'all, but I recommend changing that as we go. And then pull down those changes locally, all right? Now, all of those steps are in the lesson plan. Yeah, Git workflow with branching and pull request, all right? And so all of it is in the lesson plan as you, check out. So it's basically run through this practice and do the things you need to do. It doesn't have to be to the README, it can be to any file. Questions on what I'm asking for?
If we've already done Git init for our project, can we still change the name?
Yes, and the commands to do that are, I think I put them, right down here. Change default branch name of existing repository. Here's what you do locally. Here's what you do on GitHub. And then you could safely delete both your local and remote master branches, which I won't tell you how to do, but I think you can probably figure it out. But yeah, that's like this. There's a little, I just added this today of like how to do this.
Your screen wasn't sharing right there.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, y'all. Here, I'll show you. It's at the bottom. So it's at the bottom of the lesson plan right here under share. And then there's change default branch name of existing repository. There's how to do it locally, then what you need to do on GitHub. And yeah, then you can delete your master branches. All right, so once again, I'm gonna put you in breakout rooms. You don't have to do it on your project, but you need to run through this practice workflow on a Git repository that you already have, right? You need a Git repository to do this workflow because it needs to be initialized. You need to have a commit, and you need to have those things set up in order to be able to branch. Cool. I'm gonna create the breakout rooms. I'm probably gonna run a little over on this lesson. I wanna give you all at least 10 minutes on this, and then we got project check-ins next, but I'll let the instructors know. Let me get, I think Sal's in here. I need to get him exchanged. Cool. We're set. All right, so we're about to, I want to give you all a solid break. It's 1:05. How about this? There's probably some questions about this, and I'll make sure to follow up like later today if there are, but I'll create that thread here in the backend code help channel. And if you have like, I want to hear about the things that went wrong, because that's the best way that we can learn. And I definitely want to hear about like, if anything like didn't work for you or whatever. Here's the thing to remember: screenshot, context, what you tried, what you think is happening. All right, make sure to provide all of those. Cool. Yeah, let's take a break. And then the way that we're gonna do these group project these project check-ins is we're going to do them as a group, just because like when we do them individually, generally it's like kind of rushed. It's only 10 minutes. There's not a lot to talk about, but in this format, it's not as rushed, and you'll probably be able to like learn from each other and see some code that you hadn't seen before. So yeah, let's plan on meeting at 11:12, and your assignments are in the calendar.
And if we're not part of the 11 o'clock group, we just come back at 1, right?
Exactly. Yep. All right, y'all.